skip it. See it or skip it. See it or skip it.
Welcome, everybody, to a new See It or Skip It. We're going to be talking about spy thrillers, war films, and a magical island that might bring a band together. I'm your host, Patrick Beatty, and I am joined by two of my guests that you've seen on the show. We've got Rebecca Frost and Richard Bonaduce.
Hey.
I think the Scientology lords, that best stunt category has shown up in the Oscars.
Just in time for Final Reckoning to already be done.
Yep. Tom Cruise he's coming for that award. He's going to get it this year. And that will be the only Oscar he'll have, right?
No, they're not doing it until 2027.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. So Mission Impossible franchise is going to keep going then.
At least one more time.
It's got to be for Tom Cruise.
Join it for one last time.
One last time. Hey, Richard, we saw Minecraft last week, right?
Yeah, and you yelled at me about it.
We talked about spoilers a little too hard, but I forgive that. What I can't forgive is saying that the theater was boring and that there wasn't a big crowd.
I said that during that 20 minutes of exposition, kids were getting bored and kicking their chairs and all that.
It must have been the exception, because we've got a clip of what has been going down in these theaters.
Let's see it.
Stop it. Get some help.
See, if they had brought chickens, then I would never have made that comment.
You know, there's popcorn buckets, and then there's chickens that could be for sale.
Chicken nuggets.
Oh no. What do you think of this, Rebecca?
Just thinking about those poor theater workers who have to clean up after those kids.
That is true.
Yep.
That's like Rocky Horror Picture Show level of cleanup afterwards.
We saw it with Minions too, people dressing up but at least there they seemed a little bit more like classy. They were in suit and ties and stuff. Mm-hmm. This is just wild and out.
They're pulling chairs off. They're pulling chairs off the floor. Mm-hmm. They're vandalizing.
Police are showing up. It's ridiculous.
All I heard was you just called Minecraft fans not classy. That's what I heard.
Minecraft fans.
That's my takeaway.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I guess not classy. I got strong beliefs about theater cleanup etiquette. You know, like we got to be strong as us critics for that. But
I'm one of the ones that walks away and picks up all my own stuff.
Mm-hmm. The director Jared Hess even was like, I'm just glad people are having fun. But I do wonder if he was tasked with cleaning up the theaters, he would be saying the same thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
That being said, go watch a Minecraft movie. It's really good. And the interviews. But let's jump into what we're talking about today, which is Drop. First thing. Oh my goodness. So,
I loved it.
You steer this one for me. Tell us about Drop.
Drop. It's kind of a crazy premise. This woman goes on the first date that she's had ever since her husband passed. And while she's on this first date, she's getting airdrop messages on her phone, and essentially her kid is being held hostage at home, and she needs to follow what this airdrop person is telling her to do, or her son will be killed. And it's a very tense thriller. Stars Megan Fahy and Brandon Skelnar. Correct me?
It's a skeleton.
A non-problematic actor in...
The other actor in It Ends With Us.
Yeah.
But the premise, you wonder, how am I going to get 90 minutes out of a first date at a table? And they make it work. And I was thrilled the entire time. And you can tell this movie is also made by people who love movies, because there's a lot of care and love put into all of the cinematography in every shot.
Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be based in Chicago, but apparently they didn't film this in Chicago, which genuinely surprises me. But yeah. Chicagoans was like, that's not our skyline. None of those buildings are what we were at. So
the only insight I got that it was Chicago was their waiter, who was like, you guys hear about Second City? And talking about how he loves to do improv. Yeah, that was just for me. That was just for me. I'm a big fan of Chicago improv.
The riz on that waiter, it was astounding. He was probably the best part as far as comedic timing goes. Anytime he shows up, he's taking away all of the tension in the room. But at the same time, it's very Alfred Hitchcock, where they're building up a lot of suspense. You don't know who's in the place. You don't know if this date is actually a good person or if he's a part of this text chain and stuff. And I just find it so funny that this killer is sending things in the form of memes to just troll her. It's ridiculous. Richard, you saw it with us.
I did. I agree with you completely up until the last act. Okay. I thought it was great.
When it turns into skyscraper.
When it turns into skyscraper. What I really liked was that they took everyday things going on a first date, leaving your kid alone for the first time, even though you have a sitter. The sister was also great as a supporting character and funny, and even her fear of heights. He picked the seat near the window. They did all of these little things and just elevated it, and it was great. There was a lot of tension the whole time, and then for me at the end, they just threw all that out the window and got literally silly. I didn't spoil it this time, and so I would still, for me, I think it's still a seer, but keep in mind that I think the last act goes off the rails.
It's interesting. Like, going off the rails is a very good way to describe it, but you have to buy into the premise first, and you have to take all the things that they've been building up until the third act to really feel like the final act is rewarding enough. But it's wild. And there's one moment that definitely feels like it just goes straight to crowd pleaser and maybe not necessarily works best for the story, but I still had so much fun with it. It's a see it for me. What do you think, Rebecca?
Total see it. Listen, you're going to want to clap when this movie ends. Do it. Do not be afraid to clap when this movie ends.
Don't bring a chicken. Not chickens.
I clapped when the movie ended. No, you know what though? I will say this: even during the third act that I didn't like as much, they still use humor really well. Even at the very end of the movie with the sister, the lead character's sister, good use of humor throughout.
Yeah, I think the performances. Our lead with who was the actress against?
Megan Fage. We last saw her on White Lotus season 2.
Incredible in this. I loved her in the role, and I think she did a really good job of being not like a super vulnerable main character or like a scream queen or anything like that. She tries things. She tries to get out of situations. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And a lot of films don't show both sides of it. It's usually either they're trapped, they can't do anything, or they're way too smart for their own good and can get around whatever.
I thought it was great, as you both mentioned, everyone was the suspect for a while. And it really was Hitchcockian, and it could be that guy, it could be that guy. And I found myself going, it's got to be someone in the restaurant, and I'm trying to put it together and all that. And in the end, it wasn't anything that I thought, but it was still a legit outcome. Yeah.
Still believable.
Yeah.
So that's a see it from all of us. So let us know what you think if you see Drop this weekend. And let's move over to the amateur, Rami Malek. He is a code breaker, something heartbreaker, love taker. Don't you mess with that around with him?
No, he's more of a wife guy in this movie.
He's a simp.
Oh my goodness. So tragedy happens. Rami Malek now has to go against the law, who's preventing him to try to find out who has done this tragedy to his wife. And he's on the run. He's having to find his tools and resources to get revenge on this person. And this is a spy thriller that to me feels a little bit more mid than what we've seen previously with like Black Bag.
Yes, the pacing on this movie, first of all, it's 2 hours long. Does not need to be 2 hours long. I think this movie could be easily condensed, but I can also see why it is the length that it is, because they do spend the first 30 to 40 minutes really establishing his character and his role and skills, and also where he lacks skills in order to fulfill this goal that he's trying to meet.
I think I liked Amateur more than you guys and Drop a little less than you guys. I liked Amateur because I've seen this movie 100 times. You know, someone wants to get revenge, etc. But not with that guy. Not with that guy who couldn't, I believe one of the guys says, couldn't beat up a 90-year-old nun. I think is what he said.
He very specifically cannot shoot a gun.
And he can't shoot someone from a distance and just get it done. But I liked that they took all of those usual tropes and flipped them. That he's getting caught left and right, and sometimes he ends up taking someone out almost by accident and all this. And his training was a joke, but he takes it seriously as he can. I like that in the end he relies on his strengths at being a nerd, etc. What I didn't like was that even at 2 hours, still some of it happens off screen.
Yes.
Well, what's so funny, because I would say about 50% of this movie happens on computer screens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of looking at phones.
It's a very 90s spy thriller where most everything is going through, like, we're going to show how we went through the interwebs and we went into the WWWs, and it's filmed that way. Like, it feels like a 90s style for it. And it's clearly like up in like present day or maybe in the 2010s or something.
Yeah.
The other issue I had, we've got a supporting cast that I think is pretty stacked.
Lawrence
Fishburne, John Bernthal. But John Bernthal, I feel like he did the film a favor, showed up at the beginning and then showed up at the end. And I wanted so much more with.
He was just there. He just showed up on set.
I am feeling they cut a lot to cut it down to 2. I was very surprised he was barely in it. Then he shows up at the end and hardly does much. I'm like, oh, he's back. Oh, no, he isn't.
You can call it subvert expectations to say, oh, well, he doesn't show up in the end. I just call it probably bad writing. Like, that's a really good tie-in to bring him back, especially because there was setup at the beginning, and now I'm going to spoil stuff, where he said he saved his life at one point. So you would think narratively that would come back around, but it doesn't really. He just kind of goes, you should stop, and then he leaves.
Yeah, it's almost a little too predictable where someone is always 2 or 3 steps ahead, and it kind of takes the fun out of the big climax of the movie because you kind of expect Rami Malek to be 2 or 3 steps ahead, and he is.
Mm-hmm.
But when Bernthal shows up, you also sort of expect him to take over, and he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay.
He more shows up for like a pep talk.
He does. Yeah.
And Michael Stuhlbarg, who is really in it for the shortest amount of time. I love that actor. I don't know why he's not featured in more films, but
he's
really
definitely more
kind of a nothing sandwich
character kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean, for Black Bag, I wasn't necessarily confident on maybe people seeing it in the theaters because I didn't think it brought enough action and work for that. So if you're looking for action and stuff for the spy thriller, it might work for you. But to me, I think it's a lesser film too. So for me, it's a skip it.
Also, totally like their big pitch is see it in IMAX. Why?
Not a huge
We all saw it in IMAX. Can't tell you how.
Doesn't really
did anything.
the film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would see it, but I wouldn't feel a need to see it in IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I skip it, honestly. I did not really care for it that much.
All right. Well, that's it for The Amateur. Let's move on to Warfare, because this is going to be one that I will be seeing again once I get really good sound in my home theater.
Well, I didn't see it, so convince me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I'm going to have a difficult time because I consider this movie a skip it.
Ooh,
but
interesting.
Yeah, but essentially the premise is Ray Mendoza teamed up with Alex Garland to recreate his memory of his time serving in Iraq in 2006.
Okay.
And the film takes place over an hour and a half of his experience trying to be extracted from an active war zone. And
it's all taken from memories.
And it's all taken from memories. Every single character on screen is inspired by a real person that was there.
Okay.
And it's gory. It's Iraq in 2006, so you kind of know what to expect. Not a whole lot happens, but it is very tense and thrilling the whole time.
But apparently it's loud because we want a good
extremely loud.
And that's the thing, the sound design in this, it's very familiar to what we saw. I think it's actually been a year since Civil War came out, which this was kind of filmed back to back. But with Civil War, the sound design was one of the best parts of that movie. And much like Civil War, Warfare does not try to make this a political statement. You don't really know what side anybody is on in this, and they don't really give you a lot of each character to know who they are. This is an event that happens, and you're thrust right into it, and that's the entirety of the film. Much like the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, but we're going to stretch this to an hour and a half runtime. The sound design, people in my theater, when something happens, I'm usually the one to jump at like the ridiculous jump scares. The entire theater like almost sat up in their seats. It was crazy how well the sound worked for the audience.
Yeah, they were doing some really fantastic stuff with sound design in that movie.
Well, you sound like a see it, and you sound like a skip it.
I think for your money's worth in a theater, this is absolutely a see it, because some people want to go to have that kind of visceral experience, to feel immersed in something. And whether or not the story really works as far as like giving you compelling reasons to follow these people or know who these people are, the event itself is kind of incredible.
If you're going to the movies for technical aspects, totally go see it. I personally love more of an emotional aspect and a lesson to take away from a movie.
Okay.
And there's not really one with Warfare. The thing I struggle most with this movie is the why behind it. And I'm not here to tell anybody, like, you know, don't make art, because art doesn't necessarily have to have a why, but I left feeling pretty disappointed.
It might be something where the theater is like the strongest place for it. And really, like, if you're going to check it out anywhere, it should be like with the impressive sound just for that side of it. But I agree. Like at the end of the day, if I see this up on Amazon Prime, I don't know if I'm going to be clicking to it to rent or own.
Maybe after you get a sound bar, I'll come over.
Okay. I'll get myself a real good
All right,
Vizio.
okay. That's right. On the cheap.
So let us know what you think about Warfare if you get a chance to see it. And finally, let's move on to The Ballad of Wallis Island. Now, this had come out in March 28th, and we, for some reason, did not get to have this until this week. It's now finally in theaters. This is about a rich man that won the lottery and is now doing everything he can to try to bring back one of his favorite bands, Mortimer and McGuire. This is Carey Mulligan, Tim Key, Tom Basden. And this is what I would describe as like a warm hug of a movie where it's very soft, it's very kind, and it embraces something that I love in music-related films and stories where they're showing you the power of what music can have on people's lives.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
This is kind of the opposite of what you were just saying about Warfare, where there's not a lot of like action and this and that, but it is all story. It's all why, really, right? And it's really good. I feel the same way. It's a quieter movie. It's very subtle. Even the humor is subtle. It's
Very dry
great.
humor.
It's great,
Love.
but it's very much. Wait, did he say what I thought he said? Yep, you have to kind of listen. And what I also really liked about it was it leaves some things open for you. It doesn't feel a need to tie up every loose end, and that's life.
Oh, I like when a movie's open-ended.
It's, well, I wouldn't even say it's open-ended necessarily. There are just parts of it that you don't know where that goes. And that's life. That's it's all around these characters, this character and this character and these. There's basically 4 or 5 that you're focused on. And you don't know everything about them, but you know enough to care. And you know enough to go, well, this was their background, and where are they going now? We don't know.
Right. Well,
And sometimes it's okay.
Tim Key's character is the big mystery, right?
Yeah.
Why is he on this island? What is he doing with these two people that seemingly aren't happy to be there with each other, let alone with this random stranger on an island of 2 people, maybe?
Yeah.
But it's so funny. Tim Key is the heart of the film. I think Carey Mulligan is great. I love the music. Apparently there's a whole album out on Spotify.
I was thinking there should be.
Yep, they put that out. And Carey Mulligan is a fantastic singer. If you've watched Inside Llewyn Davis, she's incredible in that. She sings alongside Justin Timberlake in it. It's Oscar Isaac. It's a Coen Brothers film. I always got to shout it out when I can.
I do have a question. Is her husband Mumford of the Mumford & Sons involved?
I don't believe so, but I think they give a little bit of a shout out in the interview that we have with them.
Cool.
Yep. But anything else that you're thinking with Ballad of Wallis Island? I think there's so much we could talk about with it later.
It's nothing I want to spoil. I just want people to see it. I think it's really good. I think it's one of those movies that you go in thinking it's going to be one thing. And it is that. It gives you that. It gives you what the trailer promises, but it's so much more too. And that's usually the opposite. Usually I get exactly what I saw in the trailer. And they spoiled it, but they don't in this.
It's definitely worth checking out. And at Sundance, when I was in the theater and saw the standing ovations, that's when I knew, okay, we've got to hit our
Gotta check it out.
But we've got to promote it, I think, because it's not getting a ton of traction, I think, at least in Utah with it being delayed. So go and check out The Ballad of Wallis Island and let us know what you think. And just to emphasize that a little bit more, take a look at some of the reactions to the fans that checked out an early preview of The Ballad of Wallis Island. If you could have any band reunite, who would it be?
Well, I had said Fleetwood Mac, which is a little hard when one of the people passed away now, but...
Kiss is our favorite.
Wilson Phillips.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Karen Carpenter. Rage Against the Machine.
If the Beatles could commit to putting out a really great album, I'd like to see them back together again.
Either Spinal Tap or the Oneaters.
Dixie Chicks.
The Beatles.
The Cranberries. The Police, probably.
Heartwarming, hopeful.
Extremely charming, very funny. Charles steals the movie.
Weird in all the best ways.
Very unique, really refreshing because a lot of movies aren't being filmed like this.
Fantastic.
When you think about the whole world of sequels and redos, and this was just a breath of fresh air, and I hope everyone gets a chance to see this.
Aren't they so sweet?
Just as crazy as Minecraft.
Yeah. You bring a chicken to an island, it's out of control.
Oh, man. So let me ask you both this. So if you were on an island and you wanted to have your favorite band come and play and reunite, so this is a broken up band, who would it be and why? Let's start with you, Richard, since you've seen this.
But they have to be alive.
Nope.
Oh, they don't?
Yep.
Well, then, the Beatles.
Beatles.
Oh, really?
I never got to see them, obviously, and 2 of them are dead. So if we're on this mystery island where anything happens, sure.
Beatles.
Plus, it would work great in their setting. It's not like a huge stadium.
Sure.
They're just sitting there doing acoustic stuff. That'd be great.
It'd be beautiful. I love that. Rebecca, what do you think?
Well, so for me, I have a whole list of bands that I wish I could see, but could never due to them passing or breaking up. I do, however, get my second chance because now Oasis is on tour, and I have tickets to see them in Los Angeles. And I never, ever in 1,000 years thought I would get to see Oasis.
You live in your own Charles experience.
So I'm living my dream. But honestly, that's why I would pick. I would love to get the brothers in there, and hopefully they can be cool. But
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. They got to stay cool because there's nowhere to go on this island.
Gallagher
Right. For me, I thought about this, and I'm going to agree with one of the folks that I got the video from, Rage Against the Machine. I know that they have come back and they have gone away. And
a nice acoustic set from Rage Against the Machine.
Well, do you remember when they tried to play in Spanish Fork in Utah?
Yes.
Yes.
And the people that arranged the whole thing had no idea who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they went on stage, people were horrified and the police came, and did they have to shut it down too?
Yeah, I'm
Just
pretty
like
sure they shut
Minecraft.
it down.
Just like Minecraft.
Chickens and Rage, yeah.
So Minecraft, Chickens, and Rage Against the Machine. That's going to be the
Sounds like
name
your perfect day.
Yeah, that's my time.
That's your island.
Oh, man. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and wrap this up and get to the interviews with the cast of Ballad of Wallis Island. But let's tell the people where they can find you, Richard.
Fridays on iHeartRadio 106.7 with Hooker and DB in the morning and here on occasion.
Yes. And Rebecca?
Every week on Geek Show Podcast or Twitter and Instagram at EUGrossRebecca.
Thank you both for coming on. This was so much fun.
Thanks for having us.
We have to really delve deep into this. But make sure that you check out More Seat or Skip It on abc4.com. Just click the shows tab and you can see our interviews, more reviews, and news. And with that being said, let's get to the interview. Well, I'm so excited to be able to talk to all of you. I saw this film back at Sundance, and I can genuinely say that it's my favorite one of the year.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love the heart. I love the message in it. And I think watching it, the question that came to my mind is one that I'm thinking many viewers are going to have. So I'm going to pose it to you. If you were on a desert island or on a beautiful, luscious island, and you had your favorite artist be able to come and do a private show for you, who would it be, and what do they mean to you as far as impact goes?
Yeah, that's a very tough question. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And the reason is that I was slightly obsessed with the Woodstock performance and the harmonies. And also it was an album that let's just say there was a kind of a love affair that took place listening to one of their early albums. And so it's very evocative to me.
You're not that old, are you? That was 1970.
Well, no, but, we listened to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, it takes me back to a very happy time. Let's put it that way.
Right. My favourite female voice in the world is Brandi Carlile right now. So if Brandi could just come and bring a guitar and sit down and sing me songs, that would be heaven. I mean, she probably would if I asked her.
Well,
Yeah.
Marcus would do it.
But,
You could ask Marcus.
What was rehearsing like for Carrie and Tom when it came to the songs? Did you have a lot of prep time before? Was it kind of more on the spot?
It was more on the spot, I'd say. We didn't have a lot of prep time, but we had the time to sort of go through the songs a bit and play them together and sing them together. I think we sort of both were into the idea that we would sort of try and create something that felt quite authentic and that felt like these two people genuinely hadn't sung together for 10 years, you know what I mean? And so, like, the fact that they were being reunited...
That's convenient.
Well, it was... but it's quite nice that
we were sung in 10 years.
Yeah, but we didn't want it to feel over-rehearsed.
At all.
It didn't feel over-rehearsed.
If anything, go the other way.
Yeah, there had to be a sort of baked-in rustiness, didn't there?
Very baked.
Yeah.
Tim, I got to talk to you a little bit before the film at Sundance, and man, your character and your performance is so great in this. You're absolutely at the heart of the film, but in a lot of ways, your character can kind of be insufferable. Like but in an adorable way. I don't know how to word it.
Yeah.
And so the question is, how do you toe that line between you're not necessarily like jabbing the audience because everybody's sympathetic to to Tom at that point. But
Yeah.
what was it like working on that character?
Yeah, well, I think I was sort of born to play it. I kind of have played variations
I
of
knew
it.
it was going to come out wrong.
Yeah, no,
get
it's
that
come out
question
absolutely
again.
perfectly. Yeah, I just kind of had a sense that I should just throw myself into that. I mean, that was the balancing act, to create something that would be annoying to the other man on screen, but not annoying to the audience. And that was the fine line. But in fairness, I kind of didn't really need to judge it. I just threw everything at it, and then Griff could sort of manage it slightly. And then in the edit, you can also decide when you can pare it back a little bit. If it bled out into the audience that it's tough to watch this guy, then we've done it wrong. But I think the balance is about right. I mean, when I watch it, I like the guy, but you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to be in close contact like his character.
You've got to understand why Herb finds you difficult to deal with.
Yeah, totally.
It never occurred to me. I mean, having worked with you for a very, very long time, it never occurred to me that Charles would ever be sort of annoying or unbearable for an audience. Because I feel like I just know exactly like how good you are at sort of judging how to kind of like work through this sort of that character, and it's so lovely. I find it genuinely very moving when I watch the film and watch Tim's performance.
It's one of the most wholesome performances ever, and I loved it so much. Thank you everybody so much. It was great to meet you. Can't wait for everyone to see this.
Thank
you.
See it or skip it. 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 See it or skip it.